Hi everyone, welcome back to my craft room. If you're new to my craft room, then welcome. Today I am working on some storage solutions here, I think, for my craft room. I have this giant box. I can't pull it out right now or I'll knock my camera over, but it's just like one of those plastic shoe boxes on my table here that's just full of like ModPodge and paint, or not paint bottles, but glue bottles and all kinds of glue and stuff like that. And I need something that's going to take up a little less space and that'll, look nice in here to store some of my little Mod Podge bottles. I'm making them for these 2-ounce bottles because I always pick these up at Dollar Tree, and I have a lot of them right now. I've been trying to stock up because sometimes you can't find it there. And then also like bottles like this size too, the 3-ounce like tacky glues, that you can get them at Dollar Tree too. But instead of having this giant bin here that looks terrible on my desk, I'm really trying to get some organization in here. So I'm going to make this similar to the paint organizer that I made a while back. I'll put a picture of that in right here. And then I'm just going to make it just a slight bit different. And this one that one is, has 2 rows of these little wood crates here that they have. These are from Dollar Tree. I have one here somewhere that still has the sticker on it, in case anyone wanted to look those up. But I'm going to be using 4 of these, and you can use more if you want to, depending on how tall you want to make it. I'm going to try it with 4. I may decide I want it a little bit higher. And then I'm going to be using one of these little pallets. These are just the wood pallets from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use one of these. On the other one that I did for the paint, I used 2 side by side to make it more stable so it doesn't tip. And then I'm also going to be using some of these wood dowels from Dollar Tree. These are great. I love working with these. They're easy to deal with, when you want to cut them to different sizes. So what I'm going to do with the dowels is they're actually going to go in here when I'm finished. Whoops. Well, I'm going to glue them in here, so they're not going to keep falling out like they are right this second. Just want to kind of give you an idea what I'm doing. And all these boxes are just a hair different. Okay, that one fits in there pretty decent. So that's going to get glued in right here on the edge. Of course, nothing's going to work for me right now. Hang on. There. That will be little dowels going to glued in there. That way when you put your bottles in, if you bang the table or something, they're not all just going to pop out, because they're going to be, lifted up just a little bit. And then that'll still fit 2 in there, top and bottom nicely, and I can just stack these right across. So that is what I'm going to do. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these pieces. Now I cut out 4 of these. These were very easy to cut. All I did was I just took them and measured them on the box here, like so. And then I just made a little mark with a pen, like right about where you want to cut it. And then I just took a pair of wire cutters. You could probably use an old pair of scissors or something too. And then I just kind of squeezed it around. It's really soft wood, so it didn't take much to cut these at all. So I just, made some indents there and then popped it back and forth. And then I had, there it is, a little piece of sandpaper. So after I was done doing that, I just kind of went over it like that, smoothed it off, and then there you go. You have your little wooden dowel we're going to glue in there. So it's really easy. I'm pretty sure you could probably do the same thing with an old pair of scissors or something too. Like I said, they're pretty soft. And I'm also going to be using some of these little clamps to clamp those down to dry. These you can get at Dollar Tree too. I think they come 5 or 6 in a pack, I don't remember. But they have those usually in the craft section there too. So what I'm going to do with all of this stuff, so I'm only going to show you like one thing here because it's all going to be done exactly the same way, and there's no sense of wasting your time watching me paint every single one of these things, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. Oh, and I apologize for my Band-Aid. I was going through things in here trying to get organized, and I don't know, one of the packages had a staple sticking out of it, and of course, it got me. So I'm going to use some of this. This is just called Real Brown. It's the apple barrel paint. You could use any color you want to, or you could paint these if you wanted to paint them a specific color. But I'm going to put quite a bit in here because I'm going to paint all this stuff with it. And then I just add some water to it because we're going to use this kind of like a stain, how I did my other one. And you want it really running like a stain. Let's see, just give me one of these older brushes here. And then you're just going to mix that up real good. So it's nice and kind of, it's real watery-like. And actually I might even want this just a little bit more watery. It's still a little thick. But that's it. That's how I make my fake stain here, if you will. And it doesn't smell. There's no odor to it like a stain would be. But of course, you know, if you want to stain these, you can do that too. But, alright, that's pretty good. It could be maybe a little bit thinner. Let me grab a piece of this paper here so I don't totally trash my workspace. So I am just going to take all of these pieces, I'm going to take these dowels, and I'm just going to go over these with some of this watered down paint, like so. And I don't mind getting paint on my fingers, but you could do part of it at a time if you wanted to. And then just let that sit for like I don't know, like maybe a couple minutes, not even a couple minutes, maybe like 30 seconds. But I usually like to just paint up a couple at a time with these little things. And same with the boxes. When you do the crates, you can just pretty much paint the whole outside. And then I just take a paper towel after it sits for a second here and just wipe it off. And then it dries in no time. But then you have this nice stain color. This one's going to be a little bit lighter than my other one because I don't have the same paint that I had on that one. But that's okay. And then just go ahead and wipe this one off too. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the palette. We're going to put that paint all over there and wipe it off. And then on all these boxes, we're just going to do the same thing. Just smear this stuff on here. And this will probably be easier to do if you just wiped off one side at a time. Getting all your little crevices here. I didn't sand this very well, but it's okay. Make sure you're getting all your crevices and things so you don't see any of the wood through it. Just like that. And then again, just take your paper towel and wipe it off. And then you have this nice stain color. So it'll look like pretty much like a nice piece of furniture when you're done with it. And you could always seal these with something when you're finished. I'm not going to for in here. I think my paint one, I did actually take that out and I sprayed it with a clear coat, and I may do that in the spring, but it's too cold outside to even try to do that now. But that would be your completely last step anyway. And what I used to seal them is just like that cheaper, it's just clear spray paint from like Walmart, and that works really well to seal things in. So I may do that in the spring, take it out and spray it, but it's going to be fine because this is going to just be in here holding my little glues. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to paint the insides, everything the same way. Just paint it on, wipe it off until we have them all this nice color. And you really don't have to do all four sides, but you know what? Sometimes they don't fit together perfectly and you're going to have to turn them or whatever because these are just like a hair off here and there. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and finish painting up all these pieces, and then we're going to come back and put these together. Alright, I got all these pieces done here, and they're pretty dry really quick once you wipe all that stuff off. So what I'm going to use to glue these in is this super glue wood glue. I find this at Dollar Tree, and I always find it in an odd spot. I never find it like in the crafting section or anything. This is more back like where they have their hardware stuff. And actually this one I found right next to where they have like the Armor All sprays and things like that. Yeah, so it's not in the crafting section if you guys are having a hard time finding this. But this super glue wood glue works really great. I've used it on a lot of different projects. So what we're going to do with that, you're just going to run a bead of that. You don't need a ton of it. Just a bead of it down here to, whoops, glue our little dowel in there. And hopefully I have the right one here for it. Hang on. There we go. So this one fits really good. So you're just going to push that little dowel right down on there, and then we're going to take these little clips from Dollar Tree and just clip them on there. Just to hold them in place until they dry. And that's it. So that's all you're going to do on all four of them is just, you know, glue your little dowel down and then clip them on. I'm just going to do another one here real quick. And this is my bottle that I actually cut the hole a little bit too big, and so there's a lot more that comes out than I really want it to. Alright, let's see if this one fits in here. Yep. Nope. If I cut them all to separate ones, I should have numbered them or something, but because some of these boxers are a little bit wider than the others. But that one's going to fit in there nice and snug. There we go. That one's really snug. Okay, so I'm just going to clip that one down there. And I'm just going to let this sit for about an hour. This stuff dries pretty quick, this glue, and I want to get the excess off here. I don't know what to do with my paper towels I have here, but we'll just use this old rag just to get some of that glue out of there. Now some of these, the stain did not work very well because I think this is like extra glue that was on there, and unless you really sand these down a lot, this was the main one that I had that problem with. The other ones aren't so bad. Now most of these are pretty good, but I'm going to find a nice one for on the top so you don't see this. And this is going to be in between anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, that's it. I'm just going to glue all 4 of those little dowels and all 4 of your little, or how many ever you're using. Like I said, you can make these taller, shorter, whatever. So after they dry, then we can come back and just put this whole thing together. Alright, my glue's pretty dry now, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue all these together. The only difference I'm doing in these, the other one I glued in the center of these because I had 2 that I glued side by side, and I had these stacked 4 high. So for this one I'm going to stack it 4 high, but it's just going to be on this one little palette instead of 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue this one all the way to the back, like that. And I'm using this one for the bottom because it's ugly and that way we won't see it. So I'm just going to put some glue down here like that, and I'm just going to glue it right to the back of this one. And that way it gives it a little more leverage because, you know, it's going to be sitting back here on the edge of my desk. That way it's not going to tip forward. So that's what I'm thinking. So I am just going to put a little bit of glue on this guy here. Oops, I don't want too much towards the ends because I don't want it moving out on me. And you really don't need a lot of this glue. But I wish I hadn't cut that hole so big. Anyway, this is going to sit right back here, and hopefully I can just kind of eyeball it. You can measure it if you want to, but I'm just going to eyeball it here. I think that looks pretty good right there. Nice and flush with the back. And then keep that in place there. And then we're just going to glue these other ones right on top. And now this has that little lip here. You could even set something on there if you wanted to. But I figured this is going to give it a little more balance while it's up here against my wall. So for the rest of them, I'm just going to add some glue on these. Like I said, you don't need a ton of this glue. It works really well. So I figured I'm just going to do it like that. And then we're just going to stack them up. And then once I get them up here and they're all nice and even, then I'm just going to set something on top of it, you know, a little bit heavy, just to keep them all in place until the glue dries. So that is it. That is how I'm making this, and then after this dries, I'm going to fill it up with, whoops, I'm going too close to the edge, fill it up with my glues and things, and then I do have those bigger clamps. Then we'll be done is what I'm trying to say here. I wonder if these would hold it into place. No, they're too small too. I have bigger clamps somewhere. No clue where I put them, but we'll get it. Like I said, just get them all into place. Put something nice and heavy on top there. Not too heavy, but you know what I mean. Just to give it a little weight to hold it in place. So now we're just going to stack that one here. And then of course the next one's going to be out of my camera here because I just have nowhere else to set this thing right now. And then we're just going to glue the 4th one. Same thing. I'm just going to put this one right up on the top. Just going to put a little glue on it. And that's that. So, I am just going to take, I don't know what I got here. Let me see what I got to set on this thing. Make sure everything's nice and even on the back. Some of these don't match up perfectly in the back. Like I said, they're not really all made exactly the same. There's a little bit of a difference on some of them. But I think this is going to work out great. And this is going to solve my storage problem here. So I think I am going to take this big bottle of paint here that I was using, and I'm just going to sit that right up on the top, and my rest of my bottle of my water I think I'll sit up there. Alright, so I am going to let this sit for about an hour, And then I'm going to fill it up with my little glues and things, and then we can get a nice shot of it all done. Alright everyone, there it is. I have all my glues in it. This isn't where it's going to be sitting. It's actually going to be sitting behind where I have my camera set up over here, usually over in this corner here by my window. I just put it there here so you could see it better. It's too much glare by the window. But anyway, I got a whole bunch of my glues in here. I got my tacky glues and wood glues and Gorilla glues and more fabric glue, and this is just the, whoops, the tacky glue. Well, now I messed that up, didn't I? Hang on here. See, I'm unorganized already. Let me get that back in there. There we go. And up here I have, sorry, this thing, it's still on the tripod. I should have took it off. I have my matte finish Mod Podge, and this is the gloss. And then up on top, I stuck the tall ones that don't fit in there. I have some wood glue, some spray glue, and just some clear, you know, like regular craft glue or school glue. But this solves the problem. I no longer have this big, ugly thing taking up the corner of my desk here where I like to craft. And I just keep this old desk here because it's nice and sturdy. It doesn't wiggle. It's one of the good old ones. So that was my project for today, was to get this mess organized, and I really like the way it came out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this craft project. It's super easy to do. You can make it any color you want. You could decal it, you could whatever, stencil it, whatever you want to do to it to make it look pretty. But I just thought I would share that with you. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this project. I will see you guys all next time. Have a great day, everyone.